Hey y'all, it's your pal Madge. Welcome back to my garden. This week we're talking about raised beds. We've tried a bunch of different kinds this season, so I want to share my impressions, which ones we like, which ones we like a little bit less. And we're going to try to get the last raised bed of the season built, set up, filled, and planted out. We also have some very important baby bird updates. So let's get into it. First off, your weekly sweet pea update. They are a climbing, but again, no flowers yet. Maybe this week. It's supposed to be sunny. In front of the sweet peas, the celosia and the snapdragons are finally putting on some growth. Let me get down a little bit so you can see them a little bit better. And I really like the way that they look climbing up through the clover like that. I didn't really understand cover crops as a concept until this year, but the clover is adorable. It's feeding the plants as they grow, and I think we'll do even more of it in seasons to come. The celosia in the terracotta bed in the back corner seems to have some kind of ant infestation. Maybe they're eating aphids, so maybe it's really an aphid infestation. I don't know. My husband put some cinnamon on there to deter them, and there's a little spider who seems to be making a snack out of them. Circle of life and all that. But I may need to spray these guys down with some insecticidal soap. I spy a little bud on the honey Dijon rose, and along the stem of the bells of Ireland, a thrilling development. We actually have some bells forming. The snaps continue to get huge without flowering. But yeah, these flower heads are massive. Really, it just has to be a matter of time, right? The nasturtiums are taking over on this left green stalk. They're getting so big. I love it. Can't wait till they're covering the whole thing. And I planted seeds in some of these other pockets, and some of them are starting to germinate, but I didn't really label anything. So I guess it'll be a surprise. This green stalk is also all planted out now. We have some different varieties of basil in there. We've got some onions, we've got some parsley and some other herbs. We got a baby bok choy, some lettuces. So yeah, we're not going to get strawberries this year, but there will be plenty of other things to enjoy. It's been another week of not the greatest weather ever, but we get out here in between the raindrops and we do what we can. My husband got this half moon bed all dug in and amended and ready to plant. He put some rosemary plants around the corners. Some of them are flowering, which is lovely. And I will probably fill the rest of this with some dahlias, some perennials, and some fillers. When the flowers start coming in, I'm going to be making a ton of bouquets. And it's really good to have some filler flowers in with your bouquets. It also looks really good just to put a bunch of beautiful, colorful flowers together. But when you can set them off against some basil or some dill or little flowers like feverfew or yarrow, it looks really nice to have like a variety of flower shapes and sizes in there. So I need to get some more fillers on the go for sure. Can we get a little commotion for my husband here? This is back-breaking work, digging up all of this sod, and he has done it several times now. I really appreciate that because my back is never going to be able to do that. All the chronic pain girlies get it. Out in the back, the baby birds have left the nest, but we still see them all around the garden, hopping around, following mom and dad, trying to catch worms, looking like Bernie Sanders. It's pretty fun to watch them grow. They're already so much bigger than they were just a few days ago. Oh, look at little struggle fly. So sweet. They really seem to like to hang out under these raised beds. Maybe it makes them feel safe. And in other important bird news, these little ones really seem to like to perch in the ferns. I wasn't kidding about dodging raindrops to do some gardening. But hey, if Beyonce can sing and dance through a thunderstorm, then I can do a little gardening in a light sprinkle. So while I am putting together this last raised bed, let me tell you about the different styles of raised beds that we've installed this year and my impressions of each. The first are the elevated raised beds up on our deck. They're perfect for a deck or a patio, someplace that you don't want an open bottom raised bed because you don't really want a bunch of wet soil just sitting on your deck. That's only going to make it rot. So the elevated raised beds are good because they have a bottom that lets water drain out but keeps the soil in. They're also super easy to tend. If you have a sore back or you just don't like bending over all the time, they're waist high. So you can just go out there, check everybody out, pull weeds, harvest stuff, plant new stuff. It's super easy and enjoyable to work in those beds. So, yeah, we've really been liking those a lot, and all the plants are super happy in them. The second kind of raised bed is the one that you're seeing me work on here right now, also from Vego Garden, the same company that makes the elevated raised beds. These are their 10-in-1 raised bed, and I got the novel style. So it's made from corrugated metal, but as you can see, there's only bumps at the top and the bottom. It's not wavy all the way down. That's how it differs from their classic style. But I've really been enjoying working with these raised beds too. They come in a lot of different configurations and colors. The color I have is called Sunlit Oak, and the configuration I have is the 10-in-1. And you can put these together in a variety of ways. I put mine together in 3 different sizes. Along the fence, the picket fence in the back, there's a 2.5 foot by 9.5 foot. And next to it, there's a 2.5 foot by 8 foot. And the one I'm putting together right now is 2.5 feet wide and 7.5 feet long. So you can really customize these beds to fit your space exactly as you want to. And they're pretty sturdy, unlike the third style of bed, which is the terracotta bed that we filled together in a video a couple of weeks ago. You know what? That one is serving its purpose. I can grow flowers in it, but it's just not as sturdy as the Vego Garden beds. The Vego Garden beds have galvanized hardware, so it's not going to rust. These beds are meant to last for upwards of 20 years, whereas the terracotta bed in the back doesn't have galvanized hardware. And I saw on some reviews after I bought it that the hardware does in fact rust. Like I said, it does serve the purpose, but even when I was filling it, it seemed way too easy to bend the metal in the bed. So I don't know. I'm the kind of person that likes to enjoy the process. I like to work with well-designed materials that are enjoyable to interact with. And I'm happy to grow flowers in it for however long it lasts because I have it now. But yeah, I probably wouldn't purchase it again. The Vego Garden beds are pretty easy to put together. You just pick your configuration and bolt the panels together to match it. I did have a couple of tips to share though. The first is that there are 3 types of hardware that you use to put these together. There are bolts, there are cap nuts with a rounded top, and then there are flat nuts. It's worth it to take a couple of minutes to separate these out at the beginning of the process so that you're not trying to hold your panels together with one hand and fumble around for the right bits with the other hand. You can see as I'm putting this together, I have my bolts in one pocket and my nuts in my other pocket, and that is working really well. My other tip has to do with probably the most annoying part of the process, which is removing the protective plastic film that comes on these panels. The outer film, the film on the outer side of the panel is pretty easy to remove. It's fairly thick, but the film on the inner side of the panel is really thin. It's kind of like saran wrap. So sometimes when you pull on it, it breaks and then you have to like use your fingernail to get it started again, which is annoying. So I would suggest do this on a cool day, do it in the shade, don't sit in the sun because heat seems to make that issue with the film coming apart as you try to pull it off even worse. My last tip is to assemble the panels by putting the bolt in the top, then putting the bolt in the bottom, and then attaching the bolts along the center. This way you can get everything sort of settled with the top and bottom bolts, and it makes it easier to line up the holes for the other three. Sometimes you have to manhandle it a little bit to get it to go where you want it to go, especially at this stage where the pieces are bigger, but it's not a problem. At this point, I've got the bed together, and I'm just trying to figure out the best way to place it so that it's not going to block this gate so that we can get through to the backyard easily. I'm trying to make sure it's accessible to the trellis that's behind it. And I'm also trying to figure out how I'm going to level this thing because the ground is really uneven here. So I give it the old college try. I start jamming a bunch of cardboard up under the ends of the bed to try to level it out. And, I'm able to get it fairly level, but it just doesn't look right. I am not sure if I'm feeling good about how not level this bed is. I mean, I can get it level by jamming a bunch of cardboard underneath it, but cardboard's gonna break down and then we'll just be back where we started. So I'm gonna go have a cup of tea and think about it for a little while. Maybe this isn't the best place for this bed. This bed is pretty well leveled with all the cardboard underneath it, but it just looks goofy because it's so much higher than the bed that's up against the picket fence. The reason for that is that the land really slopes down a lot from the pathway down to the picket fence. And yeah, it just looks kind of dumb to have it propped up down there. Now we could dig in on this near end and take some soil out from underneath it so that way it could all sit more flush without being propped up by cardboard. But the issue with that is that all of the grass and the weeds that's underneath this cardboard is not properly dead yet. So if we remove the cardboard and expose that soil to the raised bed, then the weeds will probably just take over the raised bed. Fortunately, there is another side to this fence, and guess what? It's pretty much level already. Maybe you can see that stake over my shoulder. We are planning on planting a fruit tree there, either an apple tree or a cherry tree, probably. So eventually, this corner is not going to be sunny enough to support a raised bed in which I want to grow annuals. But it's not a problem this year. This year, there is no apple tree. And even next year, even if we do plant one, it probably won't be big enough to shade out this corner. So I think for now, I'm just going to move the bed. Hey, y'all. It's the next day, and it did finally stop raining, and the sun is kind of trying to come out. It's freaking cold though, so I'm not sure that I'm going to get everything done this week that I wanted to get done, but let's see how far we can get. I'm thinking if I can get some cardboard down on the other side of the fence and get the bed moved and maybe tidy this side yard up a little bit, that'll be good. Y'all, the wind was blowing like crazy when I was trying to move this cardboard. But basically, I'm just taking all the cardboard that I shoved under that raised bed yesterday and moving it to the other side of the fence. Now, I'm editing very carefully to keep my husband out of the shot, and the bed is moved. And it actually works perfectly. It fits really well, it's not blocking the gate, and it is pretty much level right out of the box. There is a little gap under this one end, but I will deal with that problem another day. All right, the bed is moved. Now I'm going to tidy up the side yard a little bit. I want to put some pots under that trellis to house my clematis, and we'll see how much further I get than that. These big terracotta pots are from IKEA, and the big white one is from Costco. And yeah, over the next few days, I will get some plants in there. We didn't get everything done that we wanted to do this week, but it bees that way sometimes, right? Thanks for spending some time with me this week, friend. It has been a long, wet, cold ass spring, but the sun is supposed to come out next week. So come on back and let's see if anything grows. Have a great week. Bye for now.